Good evening. My name's Jason Debley. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for tuning in the past. I have about 700,000 views and 3,200 followers. Not exactly a huge, successful whiskey channel, but this is just about having some fun. Tonight's review is a blended single malt. It's Blue Hanger by Berry Brothers and Rudd. Berry Brothers and Rudd are the oldest wine and spirit merchant in Great Britain. They were established in 1698. They're located at 3 St. James Street. Well, up until 2017, that was their retail location. Then they moved it around the corner to 63 or 64 Pall Mall, I believe. 3 St. James Street is now their head office, one of their many offices. They're also got branches in Japan, Tokyo, Japan, Singapore, and a few other countries. They also have a fine dining and a wine operation in St. James, if you can afford it. But for our purposes, they also sell fine spirits. And what they do is they buy up the stocks or single malt of other distilleries, do their own wood management, do their own blending, and come up with some really interesting releases. Tonight's release is called Blue Hanger. Blue Hanger is named after William Hanger, who was a loyal customer in the 18th century. They had a number of great customers, Lord Byron, right through to the Aga Khan, and members of the royal family. But Mr. William Hanger was a bit of a dandy and apparently only dressed in blue. And in 2014, they launched Blue Hanger. And what I have is a bottle of the 11th release, limited release of this blended malt. And this blended malt is made up of Aultmore, peated and unpeated Bunnahabhain, and I believe some Teaninich. Now, there's no independent verification of the Teaninich. I just think I tasted in here. They don't disclose what single malts make this up because it changes year to year. One of their earliest releases, the second limited release, several years ago, obviously, had a 25-year age statement and was made up of Glen Grant and Glenlivet. Then they had the following year a third limited release that had a 30-year age statement. It had Mortlock and Glen Elgin and Glenlivet, I believe. I can't recall. And they were fabulous and very hard to get a hold of. And just because a whiskey's old doesn't mean it's good. It's just it's different. So it still takes work. They dropped the age statement a few years ago. I can't recall exactly when. This does not have an age statement. It's not, there's no chill filtration going on. They put that right on the bottle. There's no artificial color. So that's good to know. And for $140, this is a hard bottle for me to obtain, but when I saw it, I had to get it. For $140, you hope to be entertained, even though there's no age statement. So let's see if we're going to be entertained tonight. Cork stopper, cork for stoppers, I think indicative of some quality, as opposed to silicone. Little word about the bottle, it's only a 700 milliliter bottle, not 750. A little word about the alcohol by volume, it's 45.6%. So at 45.6%, you got to consider adding some water. And I think you need to. So I've got a nice pour there. I'm going to put a bit of water in here. Not a ton, but it needs some water. The nose is fragrant. It's very, it's fragrant, floral, definitely peated. And I'm familiar with Teaninich, which is a very obscure distillery. Principally, its product is used for blending, for blended Scotch whiskies. And on its own, it's kind of an interesting, kind of weird whiskey. It kind of reminds me of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. And I really detect it on the nose, and I've had been trying this bottle for a while, sampling it. And I think there's some Teaninich in the bottle, but this is my speculation. So what do we get on the nose here? The aromas, we're getting it, besides being fruity and white wine for sure, it's got like white grapes, mild smoke, some nice peat, kippers out of a can. Okay, enough of that. On the palate, lemon juice, orange rind, flint, kind of a limestone note to it, vanilla, tangerine, blood oranges. It's creamy. Tonight, for some reason, I'm really kind of liking it. I've had it a couple of times. Well, I mean, the bottle's half gone. I have given some to my friends, 2 of my friends, and they liked it. They liked it a lot. I have tried some other ones at a whiskey festival. Brand ambassador happened to have some of the 25-year-old, which was really amazing. So this is not on that level. It is good though. A little bit of licorice. The finish is long. You got smoke, kosher salt at the end, prickly oak. This whiskey reminds me of Glenmorangie, Nectar d'Or. It's light, it's Alpenweiss wine-like in a good way. That's kind of a put down. I should say like a white Bordeaux. I'm liking it more tonight than I have in other nights. I think you got to add some water. Without the water, it's a little too much. The criticism I had for the price, no age statement, was I wanted a bit more complexity. But if you're a real bourbon, ex-bourbon cask kind of guy or gal who likes melon and tropical fruit notes, it's all here. The wood management is 4 hogsheads, 3 sherry butts, and 1 puncheons that contain peated and unpeated Bunnahabhain, as I told you, Aultmore, and I think Teaninich. They change the 3 ingredient single malts in this blend from year to year, I find. Sometimes they have a bunch of Glenlivet, then it's Glen Grant, some other distilleries that you've never heard of, because it all depends on what is available to them and what they have in stocks that's suitably old for the blend. I think for $140 it's not worth it. I think it's interesting. I'm more of a port, sherry bomb type of guy, but if you are more of a lowland whiskey, if you like Auchentoshan, Glenkinchie, this reminds me a lot of Glenkinchie, even Glenmorangie, Nectar d'Or, then you will enjoy this. This is a good whiskey. It's not a fabulous whiskey. It's not as great as it once was, but in the past it had a 25-year age statement. Berry Brothers and Rudd produce great blended malts and have limited releases of single malts worth trying out if you're in London, or if you can get to a shop like in Manhattan. They carry Berry Brothers in a number of places. So in conclusion, Blue Hanger, 11th limited release. I should have mentioned this is bottled, I think, in 2014. I don't have my glasses on. I should put them on here. Yes, 11th limited release, bottled in 2014. That's what we've reviewed tonight. It's good, but it's not great. Thanks for tuning in, and next week we're going to review, or in 2 weeks, Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye. Oh, that's the French side. I live in Canada. Is there an English side for my American viewers? Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye. Jim Murray, who writes the Whiskey Bible, says that this is the whiskey of the year. Let's hope so. It's 65.1% alcohol by volume. We will be adding water. You can't drink this straight. Give me 2 weeks. I'll give you a detailed review of the Whiskey of the Year according to Jim Murray out of his Whiskey Bible. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.